Hello everyone, I am Azra's 10 Crimson Eyes here on YouTube, and I thought I would do another talking video since a lot of people seem to have liked my first one I did compared to my building a bookcase. I do have a piece of paper with me as I kind of wrote a little bit of a script like I did for the first one. But yeah, so I'll be, for this video, hopefully the audio quality is a lot nicer as I have this little microphone now, so hopefully you don't get quite as much background noise. I wanted to talk about returning to the earth. How I don't understand why we as humans want to bury ourselves in metal boxes and instead of just simply allowing ourselves to rot and decay in the earth. I read somewhere about tree pod burials where it's the idea of an egg-shaped pod, and it will hold a human body in a fetus position, and it'll grow a small little tree above it. And trees are picked based on the region and area you live in, so it can thrive better. But it's part of this project called Capsula Mundi. It was started back in 2019 in Italy from the small bit of research I did. And it was a project to try and find a more eco-friendly way to bury ourselves instead of the traditional graveyard with caskets and headstones. But for those who don't know about tree pod burials, it involves human remains, either ashes or the actual full human body, be placed in either a biodegradable box or inside of this pod, the egg-shaped pod, which has probably circulated around the internet at some point. You might have seen it, and be buried beneath a sapling to then grow a tree. And of course, as the little box that holds the remains breaks down, it feeds the plant. This is kind of help avoid long-term effects of either the embalming fluids used on the human body when they are being prepared for the caskets and everything from getting into the earth, the extra metal, and it also saves space because planting a tree, you can plant a tree next to another tree far closer than putting two caskets next to each other. And of course, it adds some life for animals and creatures around the area. Though one thing I did notice was that this is still just a concept, even for 2026. It's a really cool concept, but still just a concept and isn't really easily accessible in areas today. There are some areas you can, but it's still pretty expensive. But most areas will do a burial with ashes, where they mix some of the ashes with soil for the tree to grow from. Because apparently ashes have quite a bit of alkaline material or salt or something. Is it in my notes? No, it is not. I did not put that in my notes. But to put all of the ashes in a container to biodegrade for the tree would actually harm it. So they can only put a certain amount of the ash, and the rest of the ash either goes of the individual will go home with the family to either be kept in an urn or be used as funeral jewelry. which I still kind of like that idea better than being put in a metal box. I still don't understand that even to this day. But there are, in fact, special cemeteries around the world that will allow you to do a tree pod burial. Specifically, more of the cremation tree pod burials than the one that you've probably seen around the internet. And I did actually find there's at least 3 within my area that do that. They're more of a combined cemeteries where they both do the traditional bury in a metal box or I should say coffin, but I just like, I don't know why in my head it's like I'd rather say metal box than a coffin, because with a coffin I still think of the old traditional wooden coffins that would kind of degrade over time if the wood isn't treated. But yeah, there are some cemeteries that I haven't yet gone to actually walk around and check those out, because they do special burials where the bodies are just wrapped in cloth, or the cremation burials on the lands with maybe just a tree to designate the burial site, which I think is really, really cool. I do plan to at some point, maybe this spring, because Missouri weather is still all over the place. I'm lucky I can be out here in just a light little overtop. But I like the concept of like a graveyard forest, or more accurately, a memorial forest, where it's a forest grown from those we have lost. I really like that concept. The idea you can walk through a forest and know that all the trees and all the life in it grow from those who have passed away. It's a nice thought. And I think the funny thing is, I thought of the idea for this video after reading a cosmic horror story called Root Rot by Saskia Nislo. I'm so sorry if I mispronounced that. But it was published just last year. I think it's really cool. The whole concept is just, in an odd way, returning to the earth in a very cosmic horror sense. It's called root rot for a reason. Like, the bodies are decaying and growing mushrooms, and at a rapid pace, obviously. So there's a horror concept to it. But the idea of letting one's body rot and decay and thus becoming one with nature again is calming in a way, for me at least. I'm not sure if most people would agree with me on that, but we're essentially dead, and the only reason why those who would be uncomfortable with it, especially in the horror genre, is because it's happening while the person is still alive. And the fact that once I do die and I return back to the earth isn't terrifying, because it's just the natural way of life. I mean, animals die in the forest all the time. They become nutrients for the trees and critters all around them. Why can't we do that too? And of course, probably hearing me come up with this idea for this video after reading a horror story isn't going to be the best look, but here we are. But we're born on the earth, we live on the earth, so we must return to the earth once we die. I'm not sure if I ever heard that somewhere, because if I did, I'm sorry, because I don't remember where I would have heard it. But if that's all me, cool. I take this in a very strange way in my normal life, and I will mention this is one of the reasons why I'm personally age restricting my video. This one and many others, because I just don't want to be bothered with having YouTube shout at me. But if I can catch it, I do give my menstrual blood to my plants. It's full of nutrients. It's it's just full of nutrients, and it's just gonna be flushed down the toilet. I don't see why more women who have a lot of plants just don't try and collect their blood to give to the plants. It's like our own form of fertilizer we don't have to buy. We just have to wait. I'm weird. I'm very weird. And I'm alright with that. I'm very alright with that. And of course it's safe, because my body's naturally pushing the blood out. It's done safely inside of my house, because that's really the only place I can collect it, is at my house. Can't do it if I'm at work or something. That's just goodbye. And of course, they're also my plants. I don't plan to sell any of them either. So, in other words, no one's fully creeped out by it, because nobody's gonna be given the plants I give my blood to. Also, I try to get the blood clots specifically, because that's where the large majority of the nutrients is, and that means I only have like a 1 to 2 day window to collect it. But I mean, like I said, animals die in the wild all the time, so I don't see why it would be any different giving my plants my menstrual blood. Would be so weird. Might be for some, and that's fine. But that's okay. It's me. Yeah, I don't think I have very much more to say. I will say that if you want to do a little more research into like tree pods and like memorial forests and everything, definitely do more research on that on your own, because I did the bare minimum, because I just thought it was cool and I did it for fun, which I don't do. I don't do research for fun. This was the first thing I did research for fun. But yeah, we all die, we all decay, and we all rot in the same way. So why should we be scared of that? I don't see a reason why we should. Hopefully, I'll maybe come up with some more short videos in the future. If you've got any ideas for me to do, leave it in the comments below. And I would actually like you to have a genuine conversation about this in the comment section. About whether you prefer a traditional burial inside of a metal coffin, or if you would prefer a cremation, or more specifically a tree pod burial, where your body is given back to nature. Because I would really like to know. I'd like to know just how many people out there who somehow find my video actually prefer one over the other, and the reasoning. Because traditional cemeteries these days don't look pretty to me. Historical cemeteries get a pass because they look awesome with all the really, really decorative tombstones and everything. They get a pass. But nowadays, they don't look quite as pretty. And that's sad. Which is why I really like the idea of a forest in place of them. So, I hope you're having a good day, night, or whenever you are watching this. And I hope to see you in my next video. Bye.